All right, got it going, Ange? Recording?
Yep.
Welcome, everyone. Counselor Alex is here, ready to go. Stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. All right. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thanks, everyone, for showing up tonight. We're going to skip public comment because I'm going to ask all you that are here to speak in the regular board meeting, which we are going to do. I'm going to ask Angela to call the roll.
Deputy Supervisor Mannion,
Present.
Counselors Alex,
Here.
Chiarenza,
Here.
Boyd,
Here.
Lee Hood here, and Ruckdeschel.
Here.
All right, and Supervisor McMichael is absent.
Okay, we're going to start with our county legislator, Nodija Hernandez. Allow her to speak on the topic of good cause evictions.
Yes, I'm using my teacher voice. That's okay. Hello to my fellow colleagues. Thank you for allowing me to speak today. I won't take up much of your time. I just wanted to let you know that Syracuse, New York is considering adopting a good cause eviction, which would give tenants more protection and limit how much landlords can raise rent, including other things. The following towns and cities in New York have adopted the good cause eviction: Albany, Beacon, Hudson, Ithaca, Kingston, Newburgh, the Village of Platts, and the Village of Nyack, and Poughkeepsie. I do want to remind you that adopting this law doesn't cost you anything. What it does do is keep those in their homes. As you know, right now, we're in a housing crisis. It's not just to Syracuse, New York, it's Onondaga County as a whole. I just want to read you the new version, just to give you the information that you need to think back. This version of good cause eviction that is now a little different from the original legislation that was introduced in 2019. The original legislation would have applied statewide and did not provide the opportunity for localities to opt in or opt out. The new good cause eviction law prohibits the eviction or removal of tenants from housing accommodations without good cause. But examples of the following accommodations include premises owned by small landlords. Small landlords are defined as any owner no more than owning 10 units in the state. Owner occupancy housing with no more than 10 units. Units that are sublet are being used for employment purposes, rent-regulated units, and affordable housing. Condominiums or corporate units, units with a certified occupancy issued after January 1st, 2009, but up to 30 years after insurance of this. The following are grounds for removal of tenants under the good cause eviction law. The tenants have failed to pay their rent. This is one of the grounds. The tenants have violated of anything in their contract, their lease, that is a law grounds to evict them. The tenant is permitting or committing a nuisance. The tenant occupancies of housing accommodation is a violation of the law, which subjects the landlord to civil or criminal penalty. The tenant is using accommodations illegally. The tenant has refused access to the landlord for necessary repair. The landlord seeks to recover the unit for personal or family use. The landlord in good faith seeks to demolish the house. The landlord in good faith seeks to withdraw the unit from rental market. The tenant fails to agree reasonable changes to a lease at renewal. As you can see, most of these are reasons why, if we're good landlords, we should evict them, right? If they're not following any of these laws within their lease, they should be evicted. And this is the only thing good cause is saying. It's giving a reason for you to evict your tenant, not saying that you just decide one day that you don't like what party they belong to, or you don't like something that they said to you, but their rent is paid up to date. and they're following the things in the lease, that is the only time that you shouldn't be allowed to kick someone out. This law allows you, the town board, to adapt it how you want. You can change the number of units from 10 to 1, from 10 to 8, from 10 to 9. You can play around with it. The old law said that you had to go by the mandations and the legislation that the state of New York said. So with that being said, I just want to say, please consider passing this law, of course, after having hearings from the community and community input, because we wouldn't want to pass anything without our community voice. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone have a comment?
I'm happy to give a synopsis. Counselors Alex, Dr. Shell, and myself met with, honorable, yeah? Melendez? There we go. To kind of give an overview, so we knew what might be looking at. And, I'd like to follow up with Al to get some data specifically for DeWitt. How many units we have, landlords with 10+ units, less than 10, how this would affect,
Right.
our rental scene, where those populations are. I suspect majority of them are probably over by the Thompson Road corridor, but just to get a better view of where the density is and who might be addressed in this. And then similarly to her closing statements, we'd like to have a town hall. We'll make it open for everybody, both landlords and tenants, and anybody can attend. But if you're a tenant, you will have your opportunity to speak during the tenant portion. If you're a landlord, you'll have your opportunity to speak towards a tenant or towards the landlord portion. We're thinking after New Year's. So let's get the holidays behind us, and then we'll start the community outreach and advocacy program, see where the community is.
Excellent. Sounds like a decent plan, and maybe we can get some more information and get a,
I did reach out to the Association of Towns, and they do not have anything that they prepared, but they were able to put together a number of things that different law firms and different advocacy groups have put together, and I'll forward that out to the rest of the board.
excellent.
I was gonna say, any more data we can,
Yeah.
okay.
So do you know, you may know, Max, for the number of units being 10 and under throughout the state, is that with anybody within New York State, a landlord registered within New York State? Or does it have to be within the municipality that is considering opting in?
Well, because municipalities can opt in and out, meaning the city or a town,
Yes.
and they'll deal with your municipality.
So if a developer has, say, 11 parcels or 11 units total, 9 of them are within the town of DeWitt, 2 of them are in Buffalo. Are they still considered over 10? Or would they be under 10 and?
Let me get back to you with that, because
Okay.
that, when you say it like that, it is the amount of units you own in New York State.
Yes, okay,
So, that will clarify that. I'll get back to you with that. But it is supposed to be read as if the town, the minute, amount of units you own within New York State.
okay.
Also, Deputy Supervisor. We're also going to look and see how many, the number of evictions that have happened in 2018, well, from 2018 to 2023, just to see how impacting it is, the locations, just so that we see how this would impact us, if at all.
Right. Makes sense.
So that we'll just have as much information
Yeah, give some data here, at least,
to provide,
right there.
make a credible decision on how to move forward. So I'm waiting for that information too.
Any other comments? Great. Thank you, Legislator Hernandez, for coming tonight and giving us a little overview. We'll definitely be in touch over the next few months.
And I'll sit and
Okay, I'm gonna open up to public comments now, because I know there's plenty in the audience that are here for one particular topic. We don't have an agenda item to discuss this in public. So if anyone wants to come on up and make a comment or speak to the board, I'm happy to listen, and I think the other 5 board members here as well are happy to listen.
Hi, my name is Michelle Rourke. I live in the Franklin Park area on Lakewood Drive. I'm a native of East Syracuse and I grew up in the village. I now live in town of DeWitt. Not many people know about what's going on with the fire department. It was news to me, news to many people that I talked to, and I just want to know why there isn't any transparency. I mean, this impacts us greatly. If you're putting out an RFP when we already have our own fire department, I don't understand that reasoning. It doesn't make any sense. The Syracuse Fire Department has historically forever taken care of all of the areas besides the village of East Syracuse.
Correct.
Park Hill, parts of 690, near the airport. You all know that. And they've done a fine job and they continue to do a fine job. So if you put it out to RFP and another fire department comes in, is that going to raise our taxes? Probably. You know, our taxes are high enough. Are we going to lose response time? Absolutely. So who's going to be the blame if someone's life is lost, if someone's house, because they couldn't get there in time? Like, who's going to get sued? The town of DeWitt or the incoming fire department? I mean, I'm really concerned about this. And I want to know what, you know, why is this happening and why hasn't there been any transparency? I just found out like 2 days ago, and apparently this has been going on.
Well, I mean,
I'm sorry, may I ask you a question?
Sure.
You said you found out 2 days ago. If you are at liberty, can you share how you did find out about what you just shared or your thoughts?
I'm not going to reveal names,
Okay,
but they are friends of mine
thank you.
that actually live in the village.
Thank you.
So, but I'm concerned about this. I mean, I grew up in the village of East Syracuse. I know what a fine job East Syracuse Fire Department has always done. And, you know, can anyone tell me why there hasn't been any transparency? I mean, you want to know how I found out. Why hasn't it been announced? Are we now after this meeting going to get a letter like we did with the water department? I mean, what, you know,
I mean, I think there has been transparency. The town takes this very seriously. I think every board member takes this very seriously.
then why haven't the residents heard about it?
Because it's our obligation as a town to provide best fire service to all the residents of the town.
And I think we already have that.
That's where probably there's a little bit of a difference of opinion, I believe, between some of the board members.
Okay, so what's the difference?
What's different?
Can you discuss what the difference is? Like what your differences are? Difference of opinion, whatever?
I don't really want to get into that. We put out a request for proposal. What was the date of the proposal went out?
But don't you think the residents should have had some say in that? We pay those taxes and our taxes are high enough and they've gone up. Not only our assessments, but our taxes have gone up considerably. So, you know, why, instead of like behind closed doors, let's get the RFP out. How about sending a letter to the residents first to let us know what's going on and what your intentions are? I mean, I don't get what all the secrecy is.
It's been an annual contract with the East Syracuse Fire Department for as long as I can remember. We put out the RFP November 7th.
And that was solely your decision, the board's decision?
Yeah, I mean, the board votes on the contract every year, so,
Do the residents get to vote on that?
yeah.
Well, that's where the money comes from, right? Our taxes.
The taxes come from the Northtown Fire District, yeah. But you don't vote on fire service. That's the board has the ability to award the contract to whoever we feel is the most responsible.
What you feel may not be what the residents feel.
I understand where you're coming from.
I mean, your jobs, you guys were all elected in, correct?
Correct.
Who elected you in? The people. Who has a right to know what's going on, what you're discussing? The people who elected you in. I mean, the way I look at it, your job is to serve the people of your community as well as the community. I haven't seen it. I mean, I love East Syracuse. I grew up here. I love the area where I live, but I'm frightened. I don't want another fire department coming in. They don't know the ins and outs. They don't know the dangers. They don't know the challenges. You know, it's just, it's frightening. And I just wish there
I
was,
appreciate your comments.
I just
and
wish there was more
They
transparency.
will be written into the record.
If I can say, I'm speaking, my name is Bernard Alex, sir, and it says here. The suggestion that there has been secrecy and or a lack of transparency is what I am speaking to. I take sincerely the obligatory duty that I took when I raised my hand and took an oath to serve the people of this community. I too have raised my family in Jonathan Craig community, and I went to school at Bishop Grimes. I hung out in Franklin Park. Sometimes it wasn't good hanging out, but we over down the way. I love this community and I care about this community. And that with all due diligence and in accordance to law, as it is, and the sharing of the RFP and the information in which it is done was done correctly and with transparency. It was put in public document, put out publicly. It was given, everybody was given an opportunity, including the East Syracuse Fire Department, to take opportunity to respond. So and perhaps it may be semantics, transparency. Could it have been a bit more broad in communication? Perhaps, but there was no secrecy, there was no covert and or deliberative, anything done to, for us to a cloak and dagger concept. That wasn't done at all. And because I wouldn't be a part of that. I couldn't be a part of that. And so I just wanted to share with you that the information and where we are right now is giving all of us an opportunity to look at how and what we can provide the best service to everyone, particularly those like yourself who live in an area where this is of a great concern for you and for all of those others that live in the area. And I say in closing, June 7th, my family went through a devastating fire. We're not in our home and won't be in our home till probably May or June. I live in the Orvilleton area. And will I say that fire departments responded? Yes. Will I say that all fire departments responded? They did not. Were all of them given the alarm? Yes. Did all of them respond? No. But I'm not going to say that any one was any greater or less than the other. But thank God we got out and our home can be repaired. But we want to ensure that everyone is safe and to take away the anxiety that you most definitely feel. And I just wanted to say that and share that with you, that on my behalf, and I'm sure I speak for the rest of the board, that we take very seriously making sure that safety and your comfort and rest assuredness of if there be need for fire response be done with professionalism, efficiency, and that the most cost-efficient way for all taxpayers, because we don't live in a bubble. The same taxes that are going up for everyone else are also impacting each one of us as well. So I just wanted to share that.
We have our fire department close by. It's right here. That's what I don't understand. And I appreciate what you said. My family had gone through it prior to when I was very small. So I understand that. Again, fire department was right there. So I don't know what the end result of this is going to be, but I can tell you from the people that I've spoken with, like around my neighborhood, they didn't know about any of it. So. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening. My name's Michael Riley. I live in Colomer, industrial north part of town. I grew up in Colomer. I'm about a mile and a half at the most from Station 2. A large portion of the hotel rooms in the county are within a mile of Station 2. The industrial north part of the town is growing. You're all well aware of that. All of those new high-tech buildings, as well as the dairy processing, as well as the marijuana factory, as well as all the warehousing, all has particular needs that a lot of other volunteer departments do not have. Syracuse's department has a history of being able to meet those needs, cooperation with local industry. I'm concerned that one, this was an agenda item for public comment beyond this. I heard about it third or fourth hand. It wasn't well advertised. I'm also concerned that it goes into executive session. And that's going to be the end of it. I'm also concerned that a request for proposal is going to mean that the lowest bid gets the award. And that's going to set a terrible precedent for myself and everyone else in the East Syracuse Fire District. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Leonard DeBello. I live in the forgotten part of the town of DeWitt. We're there on Taft Ave, the very last street. We've had nothing but impeccable fire and rescue services and police services. Anything else in that town is a major problem. The streets problem, the highway department barely comes by, except to plow. Why this is going on with our town, I don't know. I just wanted to go on record as the fact that I totally protest this RFP and that it should be taken care of in-house. Thank you.
Thank you. Mike.
Thanks, Lenny.
This is where you'd like me to speak as Paul Haynes for the Fire Chief for Syracuse.
Sure.
Since we go to executive session. I'd just like to address a few things that were just brought up about transparency. You accepted and you stated that you've been very transparent with this right along. It was actually November 4th that the RFPs went out, not November 7th. And when they went out, the date on there said they were due back by 11 a.m. December 2nd to be opened publicly and read aloud. Did that happen?
Yes.
Yes,
It was not.
yes, I was attendant.
And who was in attendance with you, sir?
It was Rick the show.
That was the public? Angela, did I not ask you the day before earlier that day when I dropped it off?
I said.
If we were opening them
they'd be
and where?
open
And you said they'd be open?
At the town hall but the board would not review them until the meeting.
The next morning.
Yeah, they would review them.
So we showed
They
up.
were open. I said they would be open that day.
Chief Green got the same information because he left the building also.
I didn't talk to Chief Green and Chief Green was back.
So that hasn't been very transparent. You've gone into it.
I think it has been transparent. I mean, how you can say it hasn't been transparent?
And one other thing.
Go ahead.
Is that I did a notice and it was published in the paper that publicly had that 11 a.m. on it. anybody that wished to attend that meeting could have went up to meeting room B or my office. And you did come and I did tell you they would be open. So
And I asked you where, and you said they're not open.
at the time, no, I did not. That's all I had to say.
Okay,
Okay, so you went into executive session with the meeting last for this. To go into executive session, what is the reason for executive session for this topic?
to
The
the,
discussion.
to discuss the contract.
Contract
The fire-
negotiations are held within executive session for New York State law.
The whole issue is discussed in executive session.
It's contracting issue, sir. Okay. I'd like to ask, Counselor Alex, which fire department did not show up at your,
East Syracuse.
would you like to rethink that, sir?
And if I'm in error, please correct me.
I will read you the text message from the Deputy Chief Cowan of the DeWitt Fire Department. That says, on June seventh at 5:38 a.m., your guys did an outstanding job at our 99th. Please thank them again for me. You should be very proud.
So as you pulling up a text and you had opportunity to do it, I promise you I'm gonna give you mine too.
Okay.
All right? To suggest that after going through such a devastating, personal, horrible experience, that I would bring in a public forum a disparaging remark after seeing my wife and family devastated to make a political posturing statement. That's not who I am. And I gather you really don't know who I am. But I took copious detail to thank consistently and at every opportunity I get. The firemen and women who came and rescued me and my family. Because if there was ever a time where I said, thank God for firemen and women, it was then. I don't just arbitrarily throw off and make statements. And so if I am in error, I will publicly correct it. Just as you had an opportunity to do so, I'm going to do the same. Okay.
And with that, the DeWitt Fire Department did not have a water supply. We supplied the water for that fire. So we were a contributing factor to extinguishing that fire that morning. That's all I'm saying.
And all I'm saying is if you did, thank you.
Thank
What
you.
exactly does that mean? Can you explain what that means?
What's that?
Explain to me what you, I'm not a fire, I'm sorry.
When you go to a reported fire, the job is to lay in a supply line, a 4-inch or a 5-inch supply line from a fire hydrant. You have limited water on your fire apparatus. You can have 500 or 750 gallons of water. Our hand lines flow about 200 gallons of water a minute. So when we flow that water, we've only got a couple minutes of water unless we have a hydrant. If we don't have a hydrant, we would lose water. That's what firefighters could have had to leave the building. It could have been a different situation. So with this, it comes back to May of 2022. East Syracuse Fire Department showed up late to an alarm at the Pullman's Trailer Park. Since that point, the East Syracuse Fire Department has made great changes in their staffing model. Sorry, yes, I'm sure.
I'll wait.
Okay.
Continue.
We've changed our staffing model to have volunteers in the firehouse for 12-hour shifts. These volunteer firefighters are given up 12 hours once a week, every week of the year, a minimum of 44 times a year, to staff the firehouse for free. When we figure out the hours that these volunteer firefighters are putting in, we're in between 500 and 600 hours a year that they're volunteering for the town of DeWitt. This was brought up to make our service better. Since we've started staffing our firehouses, our training has increased. Our training has increased, our response times have gone down because they're in the firehouse to respond. Because of that, the East Syracuse Fire Department had an evaluation done for ISO, for our insurance rating, which goes to the businesses for what they pay for tax. The majority of New York State is at a 5. The East Syracuse Fire Department was at a 5.
East Syracuse Fire Department was just reduced to a level 3. So with that happening, that is going to lower the tax or the insurance rates that the commercial businesses pay in the fire district because of our improved service. As we continue to improve, we're looking to have a staffing model where we start to hire some paid firefighters to assist with our volunteers. It was mentioned earlier about the buildings and the dynamics of our buildings. Carrier Circle has 23 hotels. We know that there's a huge industrial area. We know there's a huge high-tech area that's constantly growing. We have cranes up in the fire district where they're developing, they're expanding. Things are going well in the fire district. We go to these buildings, we go through on walkthroughs. We meet with the property owners, we meet with the maintenance people, we find the ins and outs of the building. We have lockbox keys. They've entrusted us to put their keys to their facilities in lockboxes, so we have access to their buildings in the middle of the night. We have this relationship where we can go to these buildings and handle these alarms. And we have a mutual understanding with the business owners. This has been ongoing for as many years as the fire department's been covering. They built Station 2 in the 1960s originally. And they've covered it for as long back as you can remember. So East Syracuse has been doing this. So when you get a new job and you do on-the-job training with still having 40 volunteer firefighters, the East Syracuse Fire Department has a basis of knowledge that is huge, that is immense. If you turn this over to somebody else, you're going to lose out on all of that knowledge, all of that history, all of the ins and outs of responding to those buildings. Those buildings are not responding to a residential house fire. These are buildings that are hundreds of thousands of square feet. You know, so our tactics are different, our apparatus are different. Right now, we're covering, you know, the 481, which is soon to become 81, the end of next summer. We cover the New York State Thruway. If you're not familiar, we had an accident 2 weeks ago at the end of Myers Road down near 481. We have a heavy rescue that's equipped with cold water suits. We had staffing in the firehouse. They responded to the alarm. 2 firefighters put on cold water suits. They arrived, they came out of the rig ready to go. There was a vehicle upside down in the water with a female from her chest up underneath water. They were able to access the vehicle, cut her from her seatbelt, get her down, get her to the shore, start CPR and care on her. She's in the hospital as of a couple days ago. She's having eye movement. She's actually making some recovery, some turn. And that was due to the efforts of the volunteer firefighters. We respond almost daily with the DeWitt Fire Department for alarm activations up in Lemoyne. We handled it a couple weeks ago. DeWitt had a house fire. They had 6 firefighters. We put 6 firefighters at that scene with them. We handled 2 other alarm activations while that was going on. While our heavy rescue was heading to 481 for a rollover with a person partially ejected that Manlius ended up handling. The effects of getting rid of the East Syracuse Fire Department for the eastern section for Onondaga County is going to have a huge impact. We have 40 volunteer firefighters. We're looking for a little assistance. The budget money, and I guess we can talk about that. We talk about tax rates. Tax rate for the East Syracuse Fire District is $1.19 a thousand. $1.19. DeWitt's fire tax is $3.15. I brought that up and I was told that DeWitt has bigger and better houses. That's why they have more fire tax. Sounds kind of inappropriate if you ask me.
That's not true, but
Oh, that's what I was told. So,
I don't know who told you that, but that's got nothing to do with it.
so,
Tax rate is all set by assessed value.
and why is the tax rate lower in the town of DeWitt for the northern section?
But
Why is our tax rate lower in that section of the town of DeWitt?
I assume because you're more volunteer based.
Right. So with that, the East Syracuse Fire Department budget in 2021 was $1.2 million, 1.239. Our budget now is 1.390. It's gone up I think it was $137,000 in 4 years. And I'm not comparing apples to apples here, but the DeWitt Fire District in the same 4 years has gone up $1.5 million, and they've been able to increase their staffing level. You have a fire department that's just asking for a little help to hire some people, and this is where we're at. You put out an RFP. No one from the fire department has been consulted, asked questions about this.
I don't think that's, I don't know if that's true or not. Supervisor Makalenko is not here, but
Oh. And
I know we had several meetings in the spring with the village.
And I understand that, and I just took the job as the chief in October. So I've been at this for a couple months. I've said that I wanted to have transparency. I sent an email out to the complete town board. If they had any questions, to reach out. It wasn't to change the RFP. It was to clarify any information that you had. I understand that we're not supposed to talk about that and everything, but this is just to make a clarification. If you had a question, you could feel free to ask. And I got the response back that it was, you know, that we were still in the RFP stage, so we weren't at liberty to discuss that. So I don't know if you need any more numbers, any more information. If you have any questions for me.
No, I appreciate you bringing that information. Any questions from the rest of the board?
I don't have a question, but a comment.
Yes,
Thank
please.
you, Chief Hayes, for coming up. Thank you for everybody, the fine men and women of the East Syracuse Village Fire Department and the community members. Thank you. Prior to me getting on the town board, I didn't understand why certain things were withheld from the public. And similar to it, this RFP is a contract negotiation, and those are done in closed sessions. So that does seem like a big lack of transparency, particularly for community members and taxpayers wanting to know why the big jump. So we're not able to discuss this in full detail right now. But thank you, because as you are coming forward and sharing your concerns and your support for the village fire department, it's showing that you trust the community members to do their job should an emergency come to your house and your family. We on the town board are looking at multiple factors to include the various districts, the different types of properties that we have, commercial versus residential. We're looking at all of this with just as much gusto as you have all displayed tonight to ensure that we are doing right by the community members across the entire town of DeWitt in a manner that ensures response times will be at the lowest possible, training is at the highest possible, while considering fiscal responsibility as a key part of this. We don't take this lightly. My apologies if that is how it came across. We have been in discussions internally trying to figure out the best way to ensure that we are continuing excellent coverage for the community members of the town of DeWitt, because ultimately that's what we're all here to do. Each and every one of us. We may be on different sides of the table, but we're here to support you, the community members. And as this unfolds, we will keep you updated as we're able. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Hood.
Counselor Alex, do you have anything?
I'll get back to you.
Sorry
When I speak, I'm.
if that came across corruptly, but
You did.
it was
I
a,
can handle
it
it.
was a point that needed to be made. I apologize.
And likewise.
Thank you.
Any other comments at this point? Because we're gonna get on with our agenda. Okay, thank you so much for coming and giving us that input. All right, Rocco.
A couple of water adjustments. First one is for a property owner on 6700 Kinney Road. Had an issue with a toilet valve. They're looking to take advantage of the one-time adjustment that the board has put in place. Original bill of 1620.67. The adjusted amount would go down to 629.30. Any questions on this one?
I saw your analysis and I'm okay with it.
Vote on them separately because I got two.
Rest of the board,
Any questions?
any questions?
Everybody just want to do this one first?
Both separate, go ahead.
Man, anybody want to make a motion to accept? I do. Motion from Jack Dooling, second by Max. All in favor? Opposed? Okay, that one is passed, Rocco. Next one.
Second one is a property owner on Craigie Street. Same thing, issue with the toilet, repaired the toilet valve. This one's a little bit smaller. Original bill was $387.61, adjusted down to $159.50. Same thing, did the repair, showed the documentation. Any questions on that?
I saw the documentation, everything looked in order to me. Have a motion. Sure, from Counselor Alex, second. Counselor Chorenza, all in favor? Aye, opposed? Thanks, Rocco.
Thank you.
Yeah, let's move on to the town board minutes from November 18th, 2024. Any comments?
Okay.
Look good to me. Anybody want to make a motion? Motion from Counselor Hood, second from Counselor Dooling. Town board minutes approved, Ange.
Awesome, thank you.
All in favor? Aye, opposed?
No, she does the ones after the.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see, the check register. Does anyone have any questions on the latest check register?
Yeah.
Skip number 5. I'm gonna go back to her. I'm gonna go back to Ann.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Figure we're doing town board minutes, check register is kind of the same thing. Any questions?
yeah, I do, check register, yes. There's an expenditure of $6,517 on Rambo Engineering. We pay $165 an hour for engineering services for the planning board. And I did an analysis on how much we've spent with those folks over the last 3 years. And the analysis is that it comes to $105,474. And at $165 an hour, we were to do. The reason I'm bringing this up now is because the next time we talk about this is at the organizational meeting. And that's where that item is always on there. And I'm recommending that we switch to Miller Engineering, who's $100 an hour. That we use for our town for all other engineering, so that's gonna save us about $13,800 a year. And I recommend that we do that. I talked to Doug Miller about it today, and he said that he had talked to Mike Lanko and to Max Rucktishall about it. And if Max, if you want to say anything about it, go ahead. I know it's a planning board, it's a maxing planning board type item, but I think we ought to really consider it before the organizational meeting to look at, we can talk to the planning board about switching that engineering business to Miller Engineering and saving $65 an hour.
We've talked about this plenty of times in open session, Jack, and again, if we wanted, the organizational meeting is set for January, okay, 6th. We can bring it up again and we can discuss it now until that point. But it does always go back, the planning board does have the right to choose their own consultants, and for many years, they have chosen Rambo because of their institutional experience. However.
Oh, they're choosing the wrong one.
However.
Doug Miller's doing the engineering for the rest of the town and obviously doing a competent job, or we wouldn't have kept him for 9 years. He needs $100 an hour.
Again, it's typically about an annual fee of $35,000 a year. Much of that is reimbursed by applicants that are coming to the planning board to present projects. But we can continue to talk about it over the next 4 weeks until we come to the, maybe this is the year, Jack. 2025 could be your year.
Could be.
Okay, make a motion to accept the check register. Lorenza. Sarah Clee Hood with a second, all in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Opposed.
Check. Check register has been accepted. All right, Angela, we're gonna go back to you at number 5, canvas and post for clerk 2.
Yes, as you guys are all aware of, that I've been looking for a deputy clerk, having not any luck, and with taking on cash collections for the other departments, I am looking for another staff member, and the clerk 2 was the other position that I was going to look at in the future, and I thought that going forward with that now, so we could at least get another clerk in there to help with the collections, would very much help my office.
Best case scenario, and if you were to canvas and you had an applicant, could you get them in and to a part where they would be able to contribute to the team prior to tax season?
Depending on how long the canvas process, because usually HR does
Yeah.
that, so. Yeah, I mean, Maria started and got it in a few days. I mean, and every other clerk has gotten it pretty
Okay,
quickly,
great.
so.
Deputy clerk need to live in the town of DeWitt?
The deputy, yes, does need to be a resident. The clerk too does not. There's just some duties that the clerk too won't be able to do, which would be issuing marriage license.
So that's good. So you might get a wider net for
Yeah.
applications.
Mhm.
Oh, good. Okay, I'm in favor of it. Motion, Counselor Rexall, second by Counselor Hood, all in favor?
Question, good discussion for, can you, and just make sure I get when you put the posting up, can you,
I will absolutely, yes.
okay, thank you.
Can you email the announcement to us by email? Are you able to do that out of the Civic Plus?
To email you the announcement in Civic Plus?
Maybe that's not the smartest way to go about it.
I can just email
Yeah,
you
if
both.
can email it.
And if, I am still looking for a deputy, so if anyone knows of anyone that's a resident, also please send them my way.
Yes.
Okay, any other town board updates?
We have a crowd. So just, the town acknowledges the potential lead pipe issues, and we will be forming a subcommittee to figure out the most expedient way to go about working with the state and county levels to try and remediate that issue while doing other infrastructure and the update, but we will be forming that early next year.
Great, thank you, Sarah. Any other comments?
Yeah, we had an audit situation where we bid that out and we picked a new supplier, Bonidio, Bonidio. And I see Carrie Fusco has been in correspondence with them, telling them welcome aboard, and she is corresponding with the lady, Kelly Hines, her name is, that's running it at that company, and they're moving along fine with the new acquisition, and they're gonna notify the old supplier, Grossman Stain, and more about our change, so it is moving along with our control.
That'll commence January 1st, new auditor.
Yeah. Yes.
Thanks, Jack.
The other thing I wanted to bring up was about the hotel tax. You probably all don't know this, but in 2024, we were able to get a bill passed by New York State where we were able to charge 2% hotel tax for all the hotels' rooms. We have 25, the chief mentioned 23 on Carrier Circle. That is correct. We have a total of 25 hotels. And we're gonna gross with a 2% tax this year, about $1.2 million. That's gonna go primarily towards improving Carrier Park and finishing the park over there. And we'll be working on it again because it was a 2-year agreement. And so it's gonna be in effect for next year also in 2025. So during 2025, we'll be working with Pam Hunter of the Assembly and Chris Ryan from the New York State Senate to get it approved for another 2 years. And we're hoping to get that rolling early in 2025 to ensure that we have it for another 2 years, because it's saving us a lot of money. The governor just signed a bill just coincidentally for the city of Syracuse for the same thing, and they got 2% for their hotel tax also. Questions?
Okay, thank you, Jack. All right, I think at this point, unless there's anything else, we'll be going into executive session. Motion. Have a motion to go into executive session. On the left side of the board, motion by Counselor Terenza, second by Counselor Alex. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Any signatures needed out there? Okay, you wanna sign those girls?